Welcome to Accept Your Gifts, the 22-minute podcast for inspiring your most creative life. My name is Tracy Crow. I'm an author, writing coach, and Marine Corps veteran. I'm looking forward to co-creating today's show with you. So if you're ready, are you ready? I'm ready. So if you're ready to live a more creative, more magical life, let's get started. My special guest for this week's two-part series is Army veteran, musician, dancer, father, and dad, Alfredo Hurtado. Alfredo began playing guitar more than 20 years ago in New Jersey. Growing up across the Hudson River from Manhattan, he was inspired by the cultural and musical diversity the Big Apple had to offer. His musical experience began as a lead vocalist for a local blues band. Shortly after, he performed for Exposure, a Motown musical revue performing for New York City's public schools. He even toured with the group at universities and colleges throughout the eastern United States. In 2000, Alfredo enlisted in the Army and continued performing during his enlistment, playing for U.S. troops and coalition forces. But one day, while serving in Iraq as a paratrooper, his Humvee was hit by a roadside bomb. Alfredo's injuries were physical, but they also included a traumatic brain injury. The inability to return to who he was, or to who he thought he was before the injuries, nearly cost him everything, including his life. 22 veterans a day, according to VA statistics, commit suicide. Alfredo reveals how something as unlikely as modern dance saved his life, and how he's sharing the message with others about the healing benefits of living your most creative life. Alfredo, I've already shared a little bit about your personal story in the introduction to this interview today, but would you take a few moments and share where you were emotionally and physically a few years ago, and what you discovered about the power of creativity through dance and music?
So, if I can take you back a little bit to where I was at, there was a period where I had been rock bottom, right? I felt like there wasn't a solution to where I was at, so I felt that the best way would just to end everything. I was on all these medications. I didn't have any outlets. I wasn't sleeping. I just wasn't healthy at all. And for me,
let me stop you. Now, this was as a result of that roadside bomb, right? That the injury suffered from that?
Yes. So I had suffered some physical injuries along with, of course, the mental ones. And as a result, I had been taking all these meds to try to take care of whatever was going on, but nothing was working. I was going to therapy and talking about it and not feeling like I was the only one going through this, and that there possibly was a way of getting better. We just didn't know how. So, but with all that going on, there was still so much missing. So much that needed to happen for me in order to start healing. But in 2010, I wanted to end it. Fortunately, my wife was there to take care of me and brought me to the hospital. But as soon as I came out of the hospital, she had bought me a leather-bound book and told me to, hey, just write in this. Here's this is yours. This is private. No one's going to see it. No one's going to, you can write whatever you want in it, and that's it. But just feel like this is yours, which is kind of funny where the story is going, because as a result of writing and I never really thought writer. I just kind of put these thoughts together but I started noticing a pattern, and being a musician, I was like, well, let me see if I could just put music to these words. And so I did. And, you know, greatest, uh, it wasn't the greatest songs, but it was me, right? It was my story and how I was able to tell my story without, I mean, still uncomfortable, right? It was still, but it was easier to, you know, convey that message to kind of like, so after writing this CD, my wife, who had told me that these thoughts and these words are private, decided to take it upon herself to give this to Michelle Pearson, who is the artistic director for Black Box Dance Theater. And after hearing, you know, this crappy CD, it was just, you know, I'm not a music producer and I'm not an engineer. I'm not, you know, I just put all this stuff together. But she heard something, you know, and she immediately was like, I need to meet this guy. And so we did a little, well, I guess this was my job interview. She had called me up and said, hey, I'm going to go do some work over in Greenville, going to ECU, and would you like to come? Just, you know, bring your guitars, bring your amp, and we'll take it from there. So as we got there, we had worked with several different people, and we started with children's ward at a hospital with sick children, and then we went to a senior home, and then we worked with students at ECU, and we worked at a halfway house with teens, and then finally the one group that we worked with were inner city kids, and it was at the Arts Council in Greenville.
Okay.
And so Michelle's an amazing person because she has a way of bringing out the best of you, but also, just kind of like make you realize that you have permission to do things and to feel a certain way. You know, we're in charge of our bodies. We're in control of our bodies. We decide whether or not we want to go hard or we want to go slow. And also our space, do we go near people or do we touch people? No, we can allow people to have connection with us or have contact with us, but only if we allow. So, but she has a way of doing things so that it's easy.
Mm-hmm. Just non-threatening.
Yeah, non-threatening. It gives you this confidence, like, okay, am I able to do this? And then you're like, I am able to do this, right? So Michelle and her ability to convince people into doing things that they normally wouldn't do, saw these two kids, partnered up, and she was like, Alfredo, would you mind putting your guitar down and partnering up with this person? Because she saw that this kid was very strong. He had this incredible control of his body. Maybe, I don't know, 11, 12 years old, a young kid. And so she was like, I need your strength. I need you to go over there and partner up with them. So in my mind, I'm like, wow, I'm a rock star. I'm not a dancer. I'll dance maybe when I'm singing songs on stage, but I'm not gonna, but
so I imagine it felt really uncomfortable for a few moments.
It was very uncomfortable. It was not in my skill set at all. And so I partnered up with this kid, and the most amazing thing happened. Our collaboration created these beautiful shapes, these beautiful moments and movements, and this kid like was left with something. He gained something from that, but me more. I gained so much from that, which wasn't so small, right? It was the shift in where I was supposed to be going with with my story, my craft, my art, or however I was going to tell it. And so with Black Box, I started off as a composer. And eventually a year later, after performing shows and playing live music, I said, there's no way these people are going to have fun on this stage, and I'm just going to be sitting here, just watching them do this. I feel like I need to be in there. I feel like I need, I feel like I'll be able to share more from what they're doing. And so, but also just watching this, there's something militant about dancers, right? There's this, first of all, there's this camaraderie, right? You have all these different personalities that are very strong, very confident at what they do. And, but yeah, they have this common goal, right? The mission, this thing that I've been so attracted to for the last year or so, just watching them do it. And then the physicality of it. I'm an athlete. I played soccer my whole life. And and being in the Army, PT was my thing. I loved fitness. I loved doing all that stuff. So to push my body to the limits is another thing. Being a paratrooper and just wanting to jump over the edge and see how far I can go. And dancing is intimidating because you are so vulnerable and you are allowing yourself to be completely exposed for what? Who knows for what, right? Why do we do what we do?
The type of dance that you're referring to here is modern dance, right?
Yes. So modern dance.
Can you kind of describe that for our listeners?
So modern dance is actually an art form that was created here in America over 100 years ago. And it was a group of dancers that decided to, let's take our shoes off, let's plant our feet on this earth, and let's create things that are around us. Ballet is an amazing discipline, an amazing skill. Takes a lot of training, a lot of hard work, but there's this thing with ballet where it's it's from the heavens. It's so alien when you see this person create these movements with their bodies that are almost superhuman, right?
Right.
And so with modern dancers, they were like, we can create these beautiful movements and we can just create about things that are here, about us. We're not going to solve all the problems in the world, but let's try to, go through something together. We can do this. So we call what we do nonfiction dancing.
Oh, ooh, I haven't heard of that before.
And with it, we're dancing about our stories. We're dancing about your stories. We're dancing about everyone's stories who can relate. It matters who's dancing. It does. And everyone has a different story and everyone has a different way of telling it and sharing it. And so with when we create with modern dance, it's just like anything else. You sit down, you write, you put thoughts together, you put ideas together. And with Black Box, there's such an openness and an encouragement to collaborate, to bring your ideas to the table. And for me, it's very intimidating, especially with the group that I'm working with, because they are the most amazing professionals I have ever worked with. So I have to step it up, Okay,
well, tell me something. Let me stop you. Okay. What do you feel, and just forget modesty for a moment, try, I know you well. What do you feel you bring to that collaboration?
So I am the real person. Like I'm the non-dancer, the person who is allowing people who normally wouldn't dance or wouldn't do this to say, okay, maybe I can, right? He's doing it. And I'm not trained. I've been dancing for a few years. But like I said, I'm an athlete, and I'm a great mimicker. I'm an amazing mimicker. So I can, mimic whatever they're doing. And also, when it comes to, I'm an overachiever. When it comes to like something that I love doing, something that I know that I can do well, I'm gonna like go full blown at it and try my best to be great at it. But what I bring, or what is different about me, is that I let people, and I don't want to say give permission, but I allow people to challenge what they once thought that they couldn't do, and to challenge everything that they've always believed in that has kept them from moving forward or achieving whatever their greater self is. And also to kind of like break down these barriers, right? Who's allowed to dance? Like who?
Right.
People that are a certain physical stature, people that are from a certain social class, people are that, like who can dance. So here you have this, kid from Jersey who didn't have anything, played soccer his whole life, first generation American, parents, no education, has been through all this trauma, life, has gone from playing soccer to going to the Army, and then now is in this modern dance company. Right?
Mind blowing.
Yeah, I wear costumes, and I love wearing costumes. Like, who doesn't love to like pretend and kind of like let your imagination take you to another world or dimension that you thought you could never go to or be at. Right. So hopefully, like, somebody's watching this or hearing this, and they're like, okay, I was stuck.
Mm-hmm. I was stuck in the ruts. We talk a lot about that on these episodes. Stuck in ruts, right?
Stuck in ruts. Like, I'm stuck. Why? Well, because we never thought maybe we could think that way. Maybe we can think that way. Maybe we can shut this off for a second and see it in a different perspective. And failure, right? Everyone's afraid of failing, but you don't be afraid of failing. Be afraid of not knowing what could have ever been. Be afraid of, just wondering what could have been.
Yeah, the wonder. It seems like when we're kids, we're all full of wonder, right? And then as we grow and we age and we get bombarded with all these distractions and stressors and everything, we kind of do fall into those ruts, as I've said in a recent episode. And all we see is the life that's going on within those ruts. It takes something to really drive us out of that rut. What do you think is behind that fear of failure? What do you think is behind that?
Well, fear of being judged, fear, unknown, the fear of, I don't know, maybe the fear of being great. Who knows,
that
right?
Too, possibly, yeah. And then what does that mean? When we discover that we are great at something, what does that mean? I mean, is there some sense of impending change about to happen in our life that we maybe have fallen into such a rut we don't want to think about change, so that we're almost missing the grand scheme of our life, right? Yeah, right. Kind of fearful of change.
The shift.
Yeah.
Right? There's always these shifts in life that change how our lives have been going.
Right.
And it changes how you have to, you have to readjust. You have to readjust to what's been thrown at you. But that's life, right? We need to get hit. We need to deal with this, with this, and kind of like deal with it, figure out what's going on, and just kind of move forward, and you never forget. I mean, you never forget about what happened or how it happened or the details but you have to move forward, right? Because there's so much beauty in this world that you're going to miss out on. There's so many different people in this world that you're going to miss out on. So many different stories that will help you persevere what you're going through. Because everyone goes through something, regardless of what it is. You can't put anything, this is worse, this is worse. No. Pain is real. Pain hurts. It doesn't matter what level it's at. It's going to hurt. How we recover from it is what the challenge is and what makes us who we are and makes us strong. Not to say that when you're feeling pain or when you're sad or as you're weak, it's just your body telling you, man, you need to readjust and you need to figure out how to deal with this in a different way because this isn't working. So we have to find an alternative way of dealing with this. And it doesn't have to be dance. It can be, running. It can be drawing. It can be skydiving, right? It could be something as extreme as that, but just something as just picking up a lead pencil and, tracing something or writing a sentence, how does this day begin?
Yeah, love that. You've been listening to part 1 of my 2-part interview with musician, dancer, Army veteran, husband and dad, Alfredo Hurtado. Join us Thursday for part 2 to hear Alfredo play his music for us. He'll also share the single greatest misperception about veterans he wishes we would all let go of, once and for all. By the way, to see Alfredo dance, check out the links to his personal website and to Black Box Dance Theater posted in the podcast description of today's show. I hope you enjoyed today's co-creative listening experience. Please remember to leave a comment about the single greatest takeaway for you today. That one thing you will remember from this day forward. Was it something funny or provocative? Was it just what you needed to hear? Please share so we can all benefit. And remember to return Tuesdays and Thursdays to Accept Your Gifts, the 22-minute podcast for inspiring your most creative life.